Among the 9 ranks in the angelic hierarchy, acceptance belongs to the bottom of the 3rd sphere called Angels, the hierarchy's lowest rank. It appears to those who are moments away from death in a half-human, half-Pegasus form with glittering wings. Characterized as the symbol of death and acceptance, various legends tell of acceptance solemnly placing the souls of the dead upon its back and carrying them away, ignoring their past deeds and any pleas for a second chance. Belonging to the 2nd sphere, beliefs are considered a power, the 6th rank of the angelic hierarchy. Their sturdy, dominating size makes them an ideal candidate for giving orders on the front lines during Wars of Inferno. The gigantic snake-like right arms of beliefs have caused them to be often depicted in legends as hideous creatures, but in reality, this feature is meant to be a divine whip for binding evil with its unwavering faith. A large angel belonging to the 3rd sphere, tasked with commanding the lowest-ranking angels. Accolades are adept at using many of Paradiso's weaponry, including swords, spears, hammers, and whips. They use these to instill fear into the hearts of all those who would doubt the might of God. Accolades have long lived in legend. At times they were said to have answered the prayers of the most devout followers by temporarily bestowing upon them one of these divine instruments. Valiance is a 1st sphere cherub considered particularly ascendant as a spiritual being even among the other angels. Physical shape means little to angels of this rank. They exist in a metaphysical form that demonstrates the majesty of God. The most ambitious and brave of the cherubim, there are some sources that believe Valiance first arrived on Earth thousands of years ago, riding a comet of God's wrath that destroyed everything in its way. Valiance's sword, the Valiantium Blade, is said to have the power to cut into anything in Paradiso or Inferno, and is prophesied to one day assist a team of over 100 heroes in saving humanity from an invading evil. Oh, the wonderful 101, I get it. Belonging to the lowest rank of angels, these 2 angels are said to have been sacred weapons brought to Paradiso after the heroes they traveled with came to the end of a long journey. Charged with protecting the gates of Paradiso, their powerful blades deal swift justice to anyone who carelessly trespasses into the divine realm. The changes of a new era will always give birth to new angels. This is because angels are given form by the fears, doubts, and prayers mankind bases its faith on, feelings which change with mankind's material obsessions. As a notably advanced being even compared to other angels, Urbane, a virtue in the angelic hierarchy, is said to have been shaped by the subconscious fears of humans. In modern eras, he often appears as a giant with a ball and chain on each of his arms. Urbane's power to reduce the triumphs of civilization to mere ashes with a single swing of his arm most likely reflects the subconscious fears man harbors towards both the natural world and their own society. Though 8th in the angelic hierarchy, Enrapture was born many eons ago and is now considered the oldest angel to have ever existed. Given the task of leading humans to bliss by speaking directly to their spirits, it is said that the concept of faith did not exist until Enrapture's creation. There are many theories debated as to why this angel possesses its strange form of 2 human bodies seamed at the torso. Perhaps their shape is meant to exceed the bounds of human understanding. Or maybe, in the depths of meditation, a monk approaching enlightenment caught a glimpse of this angel while its form was refracted between dimensions. Glamor, as a 1st sphere seraph, rests at the highest rank in the angelic hierarchy. Seraphim are the closest beings to God in existence, and cannot be seen by humans in the physical world under any circumstances. Yet, since the dawn of history, there have been discoveries of statues depicting a 6-winged snake traversing the heavens. Most likely these have some connection with the Book of Revelation, written by a Lumen sage and found in the scriptures of Ethaval. Of course, this means there must have been a sage capable of connecting to Paradiso and conversing with Glamor through a spiritual means. Considered a creature of the sea due to its fish-like body and multiple tentacle-like arms, Fidelity departed from the ocean to impart humanity with their primeval memories. Those who forget their past and begin to disrupt the serenity of life are often dragged by this angel into the darkest depths of the ocean. The ocean is a sacred place, the area of Earth that is closest to Paradiso, as the intense water pressure of the depths means it has remained untouched by human hands since the beginning of time. A large celestial veil covers the sea's expanse, and until this day, there has never been a human who has witnessed the seas in their entirety. According to the Vigor Chronicles of Avalananda, the 500-year struggle between the Umbra and the Lumen ended with the defeat of the last remaining sage at the hands of 2 Umbra witches. Yet, as if to mock these records, a masked man appeared before Bayonetta with the power of the heavens and the swiftness of light. The Lumen had not perished. A monstrous creature hailing from the demonic wood, Johnson Forest. Taking the form of a dragon, it is incredibly fierce, identifying all that moves as game and devouring its prey. Territorial, it is most likely to be found alone. A beloved pet dog who had the bad luck to wander into hell, but the good luck and survival instincts to get through its harsh environment and grow into a force to be reckoned with. With its superb hunting abilities, it has even become known to some as a merciless butcher. Once it has sunk its sharp canines into its enemy, it will not let go until their last breath. A demon taking the form of a woman who left this world under unfortunate circumstances, only to be reincarnated in hell. Unlike her beautiful swallowtail butterfly-like appearance, this demon is particularly brutal, and her reputation is well known even amongst the denizens of Inferno. If a conjurer were to sign a contract and trade her soul, the demon would impart upon her enormous power and great wisdom. A gigantic bat that lurks in one of the darkest and deepest of Inferno's endless caves. It is said to leave trails of the plague wherever it goes. The protrusion on its head is not an eye, but a spiritual sensory organ that can allow Mictlantechutli to access the world in far deeper ways than beings who must only rely on their sight alone. One of the 4 man-eating horses that were owned by the ruler of a fallen kingdom. With the demise of the kingdom, the horses were murdered and arrived in hell. Of the 4, the soul of one inherited the name of the king and was reborn as a demon. The large blade extending from its forehead is a soul reaper that leaves a trail of mutilated dead in whatever direction it runs. Though it typically hates being treated like a horse, it tolerates those who have proven themselves worthy. A royal inhabitant of Inferno, concealing her form under most circumstances, she appears as a gigantic toad when summoned. Baal's enormous, wobbly body is too heavy for her to control, giving her a disadvantage in the heat of battle. However, she possesses an endlessly extending tongue that can reach the far ends of the battlefield and swallow up opponents within an instant. For reasons I will not get into here, I have dedicated my life to searching for the truth of the Umbra witches. You could even say I sacrificed the best years of my life pursuing this story. Working backward from the legends these women left behind, my search took me to Vigrid, a town in the remote hills of Europe the witches once called home. I ended up getting myself involved in a crazy tale of my own while in Vigrid. I'm thinking of getting it published one of these days, so the details will have to wait for the paying customers. My fascination with the witches has not waned, far from it, but something new has captured my inquisitive eye. A story of even greater depth calls to me. I had to know more about the true source behind the power of the sage and witch alike. I grew restless, and before long I found myself back on the investigative trail. It wasn't long before I found the very place referenced in that ancient scripture, a quiet town nestled between sea and mountain, Noaton. Not 5 minutes in town, I was shocked to see something that confirmed my suspicions, and what a sight it was to behold. There was nothing less than statues depicting the familiar form of sage and witch, statues that were second to none, even when compared to those found in Vigrid. Have you ever heard of gates that connect worlds? It might sound like strange fiction, but the truth is these gates exist all over the world we live in. The gate that connects the 3 worlds and make the foundation of our own is relatively well known. So if you're reading this, I'll just go ahead and assume you know of it. However, there are stories of doors that lead to the secret layers of the supernatural, and I've got a great source who just gave me the information I need to bring things to light. I can't reveal who my source is, but according to them, there is a gateway that leads to a primordial world cut off from the flow of time, a place called Muspelheim. The place is full of demons, angels, witches, and sages who spend their days pursuing nothing other than battle. This limitless world disregards the wounds and deaths of yesterday, always breathing life into its warriors so that they may live to fight another day. You know the stories about some guy who just suddenly disappears, is gone for months, then reappears out of thin air as if nothing ever happened? There is a large probability that guy accidentally stepped into Muspelheim and somehow find his way back. I know it's the job of a journalist to explore and uncover the truths behind rumors like these, but as far as traveling to another dimension and state of endless war, I think I'm good for now. If you're going to spit in the face of God, you're probably going to incur some of his wrath. That's just common sense to me. Still, I can't help but feel a little sorry when I hear the level of divine retribution some of these witches get dealt. One case I witnessed was particularly bad, the type of punishment that never gets better, hurting for all eternity, like a curse. An Umbra witch had the resting place that carried her remains shattered into pieces and her soul flung into a rift of time and space, never to be saved again. Just thinking about what this witch must have done to get dealt a hand like that drives me almost insane with curiosity. I'd kill for the chance to sit down and chat with the Lumen sages that did it to her. Yet, judging from the witches I know, you could expel them to the ends of the universe and they'd still find a way back. Witches' recipes. Found this cleaning up some old journals and documents scattered about in my dad's office. Actually, note to self, going to be a little proactive and try organizing these things by number. Just came up with that now. It'll take some time for me to parse everything that's written here, but according to my dad's notes, it seems to be talking about something like alchemy, working materials in different combinations to create something completely different with what you start out with. This particular one seems to be about making some secret potion from the extract of rare crystals and jewels. There's a few pictures with it, too. If somebody could collect the materials here, they might be able to test out if these secret arts work. Strange events sometimes work their way into our everyday lives. Stories abound. Flashbacks from places you have no memory of, a kid who suddenly starts speaking in a foreign tongue, or a voice in your head that ends up saving your life. The list goes on and on and on. These are said to happen when people come in contact with the remnants of memory left in this world by God. The God of the human realm had special eyes that could see all existence and happenings across Earth. They could see the fate of whomever they gazed upon, their present, past, and future. Everything. God loved the human world, and his kind heart began to feel sadness for mankind. He decided to commit to memory every detail of their fleeting lives, almost like you take a photo. He ended up doing it so much that eventually even he forgot about them, and these records were left scattered across the earth. These are known as the remnants of memory. They usually can't be seen or felt, but the truth is these memories could be anywhere. You could be standing within God's memories right now. Sometimes you come across something you lost long ago, and it's been untouched, found exactly as it was when lost. Almost like ancient towns frozen in time after volcanic eruptions. Sometimes children even discover these ruins while playing. When I arrived here, I was circling around the harbor doing some research and happened to hear a story from one of the local fishermen. There seem to be these large pools of water about the city. These are ruins containing statues of witches and sages and the god that gave them their powers. They say that there was a devastating tsunami that hit the city long ago and cracked its very foundation, causing water to seep in and creating the very vistas you see today. I'd be interested in taking a peek at these ruins before they completely crumble away, but I'm not going in the freezing water at this time of year. Freezing cold. That being said, I know a witch who probably wouldn't think twice about dancing her way down to that freezing water, though. I might come back after it warms up a bit. Make it a little vacation out of it. Yeah, that's the plan. Noatun is full of ruins and strange sculptures, worn down by time. Most of them have long since fallen to pieces, yet these ruins are still said to have a strange connection with the god of chaos. For example, that ramp-looking object in front of the city's church is said to be a hidden path that once led to a god's home. Or so I was told from some old guy who walked by as I was looking at the ramp. He said those chosen would use it to be able to walk on walls. Not the most reliable source, but I'll take it. He must have been able to tell I was from out of town, seeing how intently I was staring at things. Maybe this used to be able to control gravity. If only I knew a descendant of these chosen ones. I'd love to ask them about it. The brilliant church in central Noatun has aged gracefully, maintaining its beauty as if unfazed by the passage of time. Its value is not only sentimental. The people living in the city make regular visits to the church for a prayer, nuptials, and funerals. However, word has it that long ago it served yet another purpose. Pilgrims chosen by God would stop by the church on the way to the sacred peak of Fimbulventr, purifying themselves in the waters that flow through the hallowed grounds. While the road to the summit is lost, holy water continues to flow, purging the impurities of those who bask in it. After ruining a perfectly good pair of shoes, I'd say my feet are pure enough for one lifetime. What's the first thing you think of when you hear the word witch? I bet you probably thought of some old grandma flying around on a broom kidnapping children and saving poor little girls with magic. I've got quite the personal history of witches, so allow me to teach you a thing or two about their kind. And let me tell you, they're nothing like the fairy tales. First off, they find the spiritually gifted members of their clan and put them through intense training from a young age. If their latent magical abilities aren't up to snuff, they're pushed aside, even if their bloodline is that of the clan elders. These candidates polish their entire mental and physical being until they're grown women, and only those who are able to learn the complete repertoire of magic arts can then compete for the final step to becoming a witch, a ritual contract with what you and I know as demons. In exchange for offering their soul to their contracted demon upon their death, witches are entrusted with incredible destructive powers. Witches with particularly impressive skills have the ability to push the limits of their magical powers and temporarily control their demon as if they were using them in their own arms and legs. Witches were said to have been completely killed off in the witch hunts of 500 years ago, but the ones I know are a little too tough, too smart, and too classy to go down that easily. No matter the prosperity that modern technology brings, or the semblance of order civilization affords us, we can never truly overcome the power of nature. 500 years ago, a massive disaster renewed the fear of nature into the citizens of Noatun. A giant tsunami is said to have nearly swallowed the town whole. The cause of this wave remains shrouded in mystery. One theory postulates an underwater eruption. Whatever it was, the truth was swept to the bottom of the ocean along with the rest of the city. You would never think it looking at the gentle waves that now brush the shore, but apparently whirlpools formed in the bay for some time after the tsunami, swallowing ships and people alike. While checking for leads at the town library, I spied an old wall print between dusty volumes. The ancient print depicts the sacred mountain of Fidelity in a long corridor emerging from the summit. The path leads through the Cathedral of Cascades, terminating in a tall tower within the city. If accurate, this print confirms that, while the tower is a shadow of its former glory, at one time there was a path from town leading directly to the mountain's peak. Nothing too groundbreaking about that, but the next mural I found was harder to swallow, to say the least. It showed people walking directly up the walls of the aforementioned spire. I thought the sea air might have gone to my head, but no matter how I looked at it, the truth was plain to see. There was a perpendicular parade going up in that tower. Were these the chosen ones I had heard so much about? Were these the chosen few who could walk the path to God waiting atop Fimbulfender? Every civilization in history weaves narratives starring heroes who, cursing the fates who took loved ones from them, traveled to the ends of the world and beyond to bring them back. Resurrection is a universal theme of our kind. Not even sure if I believe in the existence of the soul to begin with, but the desire to be with the one you love? Now you're speaking the language. When these feelings are strong enough, they can drive us to challenge our seemingly immutable fate. Yet many a myth ends with gods themselves failing in their quest. No matter how iron your will or how pious your prayer, life once lost can never be returned. Such power was never meant to be wielded by man. That said, if there are any hopeless romantics left in the world who still want to give it a shot, I know the way to hell and I'd be happy to give you an escort. Just send me an email. Real smooth. People of the ancient world would depend on the word of God for guidance in times of doubt. Good to know I'm not the only one who likes having someone to back me up and give me a shove in the right direction when I need it. Perhaps this is a perennial bad habit that, despite our progress, mankind just can't seem to shake. The folly known as fortune-telling is just one of the ways we, as a species, have come up with to imitate the true sovereign power of God. Speaking of which, it just so happens I found an intriguing card with a very mysterious aura about it. Must have belonged to that little boy I just bumped into. No, I can't imagine why he'd be carrying something with these bizarre tarot-like markings. When I look at it, I feel like the card is trying to tell me where to go. Well, I won't get far with a single card. How else would they sell you the whole set?